Welcome to Hope Matters Radio.
I'm local mortgage guy James Hope, introducing you to one of the powerhouse attorneys right here in the Philadelphia area, Debbie Sandler. She's a partner from White & Williams, and our co-host Ian Meyer-Dirks, the founder of Iron Wealth Partners. We'll be discussing employment best practices, what you need to know when you're entering into a new job, maybe renegotiating your existing job. Why do you need to know this? Because it helps us stay out of the courtroom. It helps all of us enjoy our lives much, much cleaner, easier if the rules of engagement are defined. So good morning, Ian. How are you?
Good morning, James. How are you?
Good, real good. I'm excited to have Debbie in studio with us. And you work intimately with Debbie with a lot of the different clients that you see on the financial planning end of things, and Debbie vice versa.
Debbie and I have worked together for years now, in fact, on many, from the perspective of employee and employer side. So specific to the dental world, as my example, we will have many dentists who may own a practice, could be singly owned or it could be a partnership, and they have to offer contracts to the employees that work for them, namely the dentist, the hygienist, et cetera.
Okay.
It could be on the employee side. We have a lot of new dentists, for example. We do a lot of work with Temple Dental and Penn Dental in the area. And a lot of the newly minted dentists, as we call them, fresh out and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to go, they sometimes don't know what to look for in these contracts, and all of a sudden they're presented with one.
Okay.
Do I just sign it? Do I have someone look at it? And without some guidance from someone like Debbie, they might be signing something that they regret.
So Debbie, tell us about this background. A partner at White & Williams. What exactly do you do, and how did you come to do it?
Well, I've been practicing law for, God help me, about 30 years. It's hard to say those words out loud. But I've been doing employment law almost exclusively for about 25 years, representing primarily management and companies in dealings with their employees. And I've come to realize that I'd much rather help people avoid litigation than actually do the litigation, because nobody wins.
Sure.
Nobody wins in a lawsuit.
And as far as employment and contracts and, let's say, lawsuit avoidance, there are a lot of different sort of key topics that somebody could come to you either to avoid or in the middle of. What would some of those highlights be?
Well, I'll tell you, the worst case scenario for me as a lawyer is when I am told, this is a contract that my employer and I put together by ourselves. That's usually a recipe for disaster. And the smarter the people think they are when they're putting these agreements down on paper, usually the worse it turns out to be.
DIY doesn't work?
Or DIY doesn't work at all, unless you really want to help your lawyer.
It turns out as DIY, in fact.
Unless your goal is to help your lawyer fund her child's college education, because that's usually what happens. Is the lawyers get to make a lot of money over the fact that nobody would spend a couple $100 to get the contract put down on paper initially. I will say that dentists are probably the worst when it comes to putting contracts together for their dental employees. I don't know why that is, but I have seen some truly horrific contracts. Not because anybody's trying to get over on these kids coming out of school, but because they don't know any better. And the number one issue that I've seen is people trying to have their employees, new dentists, classified as independent contractors.
Okay.
That's probably the number one problem that I've seen over and over again.
So Deb, what's wrong with that? I mean, we run into this, to say often is quite an understatement. I mean, almost repeatedly. So why is it such a problem if the employer is trying to say that the dentist in this example is a 1099 independent contractor? What's wrong with that?
Well, what's wrong with it is that it's illegal.
Good start.
Good start. Both the IRS and the Department of Labor have made this an issue of emphasis over the past couple years. When you hire somebody and call them an independent contractor, generally they do that to save money, so they think, because typically there's fewer taxes to pay. You don't have to pay, I shouldn't say you don't have to pay, you don't pay unemployment insurance tax, Social Security taxes. There's usually no benefits associated with it. So it looks like, for the employer, this is a great cost-effective way to bring somebody on board. The problem is it's completely illegal. And on top of that, the IRS has made this a particular point of emphasis, so they're actually coming after small employers who are choosing to treat people as independent contractors as opposed to employees. And if you do happen to get that call from the IRS or that visit, it's going to be very expensive because the back taxes and the fees and the penalties are enormous.
James, I think that it would be wise to kind of throw out there for some of the listeners who might not be aware of a W-2 versus a 1099 independent contractor.
Sure.
So a W-2 person in its simplest form, and there's some more details behind this, basically works for the employer, right? They don't have some options to go out and work for multiple employers. You're signing a contract and you exclusively work for that one employer in this case. Along with that may come benefits or not. That's really up to the arrangement you have with your employer if they're offered. But taxes are typically withheld from your paycheck. Social Security taxes, local taxes sometimes, definitely state and federal. And that's kind of how that would go, as most people in this country are going to be W-2 employees. Then you go over to the 1099 side. What is the definition of that? You are an independent, and that's the key word, contractor. You are not exclusive to any one employer by definition, and taxes aren't withheld. It's pretty much, here's your compensation in full, no benefits are attached. It's up to you to take care of making sure your taxes get paid and all that stuff. So, that brings me to an interesting point, Deb. If going back to our dental example, if you're a dentist, why, how do they test? I mean, the IRS has to have some kind of line to determine why it's not proper for you to be independent, right?
Well, the IRS has what they call their 20-factor test to determine if somebody is properly classified as an employee or an independent contractor. And I'm not going to go through all 20.
Please don't.
Nobody got time for that.
But there are important ones.
It all comes down to the same thing, which is control. How much control does I'll use the word employer, just because that's usually how it turns out, does the employer have over the individual as far as directing when they come to work, where do they work, who provides the equipment for them to work. In the dental setting, I mean, you don't see too many people showing up with their own dental chair and x-ray machine to see patients. The dentist shows up and all the equipment's waiting for them, and they see patients, and usually the practice will bill for the care that was given. And the control of that person's day is pretty clearly set by the entity, the practice itself. So that's not that's an employee. That's not an independent contractor.
So where they show up for work every day, location, the
Control.
hours they must, so all these things are
The
control
rules.
things
Are
that
there
are
rules?
easy to...
Are they telling them how to do their job, when to do their job? Are there forms they want them to fill out so that the billing can get done correctly? Do they have to put in for vacation time? Those are all the hallmarks of an employee. The contrast is when the dental practice has its plumbing screwed up and their sinks get clogged, and they hire a plumber to come in and fix that, even if it takes them a week. That person doesn't work for them. That's an independent contractor.
He's doing work for them, not
He's
working
doing
for
work
them.
for them. He's not working for them. Exactly.
Hope Matters Radio is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit hopemattersradio.com for more information. That's hopemattersradio.com.